All right. Hello there, peeps. Today is October 24th, 2024. How's everyone feeling? I just wanted to say thank you so much for chiming into tonight's webinar. We're here in Arizona and we are discussing Avoid These Costly Mistakes, an Arizona home buyers class. This class is for anyone who is thinking of purchasing real estate, not just first-time home buyers. We touch on a number of things here tonight. And if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. What I am curious about is, what are you hearing about the Arizona real estate market? What are your thoughts? What are your feelings about what you're feeling and what you're hearing right now? And see, maybe we can address some of those, and just know you're not the only one. I mean, we're all bombarded with messages every day, on social, by phone, by email, by text, and just curious about the things that you are hearing out there, and address any myths that may exist, or discuss any truths that may be out there at this moment. Well, we're going to give it just a minute. I understand that we all have busy lives, and sometimes it just takes a moment for us to just sit down in one place and pay enough attention to turn your volume up so you can hear my voice. If you're driving, please don't worry so much about the video. I'll do my best to speak clearly and address any questions that come up. Now, I am flying solo tonight, so if you have questions, again, please put them in the chat, and by the end of tonight's webinar, I will address them. It is here 7 p.m. Arizona time, and I'll chat with you for about 45 minutes, and then we will have a Q&A, a question and answer session at the end. All right, well, without further ado, let's begin, right? Why not? Just want to thank you and say welcome to everyone to tonight's webinar, Avoid These Costly Mistakes, an Arizona homebuyer class. I am Natasha Tomlinson. I'm a realtor here in Arizona and licensed in 2005. I've had the pleasure of helping countless home buyers and home sellers navigate the Arizona real estate market. And today I'm here to share some crucial insights with you. So over the next 40 to 45 minutes, I'll cover some common mistakes that home buyers make and how to avoid them. And then, like I mentioned, we'll wrap up with a quick 15-minute question and answer session towards the end. So let's dive in, shall we? All right. Now, two things I'd like to mention before we begin tonight's webinar. I'd like to chat a little bit about our housing market and about the Fed funds rate, the decrease that happened a few weeks before. Now, quickly look at the greater Phoenix real estate market. And generally speaking, the Phoenix metro area is experiencing a balanced market at this stage. Some say that it's a slight seller's advantage. Other areas are experiencing a buyer's advantage, particularly those that have a greater increase of new home and resale on the market, that they're seeing that there's more advantage to the buyer than the seller at this point in time. But we have to remember one thing: real estate is about location first, and that real estate is hyper local. All right. So areas like Cave Creek, parts of Scottsdale, and Glendale are seeing increased activity, and activity for other areas is somewhat flat. All right. Price point plays a major difference in this. We also have an election that's coming up in coming weeks, regardless of what your feelings about that does tend to give some people pause. And if you are considering purchasing in the next few months, I would encourage you to consider making changes to your timeline, because there's a tremendous opportunity right now in the real estate market. And I encourage you to look at the prices of homes now, look at what's available, and see if you could make something happen a little sooner than originally anticipated. If you planned on entering the market in January and February, look now, all right? Especially if you're one who is in need of a closing cost contribution, all right? And we can always talk a little bit about your particular situation on a free private call, all right, if you want more information there. Now, let's talk a little bit about the Fed funds rate. Now, you may have heard that the Fed funds rate, they knocked off 50 basis points off of their benchmark interest rate. So it went from 5% to 4.75%. And that Fed funds rate, that is the price of money. That is what banks pay to borrow money from other banks. The Fed funds rate is not the mortgage rate. Mortgage rates are not based on the Fed funds rate alone, but they tend to be controlled more by the 10-year Treasury bond yield. The reduction in the Fed funds rate is the first reduction in about 14 months and could lead to lower rates on credit cards, HELOCs, and some student loans. Some student loans, not all student loans, okay? This move, it could spur action in the economy and the stock market, and we may see some positive moves. Now, a lot of people thought that the mortgage interest rates would decrease from this move by the Fed, and they actually increased, all right? So that has also caused people to have a little bit of hesitation as to getting into the market. And I say to you that interest rates do not dictate what you do in your personal life. You look at your budget, you look at your own personal economy, look at your needs and wants, and decide if this real estate market is something that you should dive into. Well, as I mentioned, we are going to talk about the crucial mistakes that home buyers make. Crucial mistake number one is counting themselves out before even getting started. Hello, what happened to my... Yes, okay. Now, this mistake, it is particularly heartbreaking. And that is because it stops people from even trying to achieve their dreams of home ownership, their dreams for themselves, their loved ones, their family, the picture that they have for themselves, without really understanding what options are available today. So let's break down some of the misconceptions that are out there today and shed some light on the reality of home buying qualifications. First, let's talk about credit scores. I know no one wants to talk about credit scores. Credit scores range from a 300 credit score to an 850. Now, it is rare to see someone with a credit score with a 3 in front of it, but you know, they do exist out there. And really, many people believe that they need to have an absolute perfect credit score. They need to have an 850 before they can purchase a home. And I've had past clients tell me, listen, Natasha, my credit, it's not perfect, all right? So I can't possibly qualify for a mortgage. But here's the truth. While a higher credit score, a higher FICO score can certainly get you a better interest rate, you can often qualify for a mortgage with a score as low as 620, 580, 550 with certain programs, and 500 with some money down. Now, let's chat a little bit about the debt myth. I often hear buyers worry about their student loans, their medical debt, car payments, things of that nature. They assume that any debt automatically disqualifies them. The reality is it's more about your debt to income ratio, your DTI, than the absolute amount of debt that you carry. Lenders, they typically look at a ratio, you know, they want to see a ratio of 43 or less, but there are programs with higher ratios. So don't let your student loans or your other debts stop you from exploring your options. Don't just go type your numbers in on some calculator you found online and say, oh, that counts me out, because you don't know what a lender really is looking at, what debts that they're looking at, what they're truly factoring in. Let the professionals do their job. The third misconception is about income. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, I don't make enough to purchase a home. But here's the thing, and you may not make enough to purchase a house, but maybe you can purchase a condo or a townhome or a manufactured home today to get you into the door of real estate and then upgrade later down the road. That is a possibility. Remember, if you're renting, that is 100% interest. Remember, back to income. There's no set income requirement for buying a home. It's about how your income relates to the price of the home and your other debts. Plus, there are programs designed specifically for low to moderate income buyers, and you may be surprised at what you qualify for. So let's chat a little bit about the reality of home buying qualifications. The truth is, they're much more flexible than most people think. Lenders look at your overall picture, your credit, your debt, your income, assets, your employment history, and it's more of a holistic view, not just one magic number that determines everything in your life. Let's give you a bit of an example here, all right? So in the past, I worked with a young couple who thought that they couldn't buy because of their student loan debt. They almost gave up before even starting. But when we sat down and we looked at their entire financial picture, we found that they actually qualified for a first-time home buyer program. They're now happily settled in a new home. They're building equity instead of paying rent, instead of paying someone else's mortgage. Now, this brings me to my next point, the importance of getting accurate, up-to-date information. The home buying landscape is always changing, with new programs and options becoming available all the time. What was true 5 years ago or even last year may not be the case today. All right, well, enough about that. So let's hop on over to mistake number 2. Now, mistake number 2 is leaving money on the table. Not taking advantage of these first-time home buyer programs, of down payment assistance programs. Yesterday, I heard about a down payment assistance program that is based on solar and wind, that you actually don't pay an increased interest rate for. You don't have to be a first-time home buyer. There's all sorts of programs available out there, folks. And this is a big one, all right? Arizona offers several fantastic programs designed specifically to help you get into your first home. And missing out on these could cost you thousands of dollars. There are down payment assistance programs that are specific to your area, specific to your location. Others are dependent on income and may require you to stay in the home for a few years. Others are 100% financing. So don't leave money on the table, all right? Find out what's available to you. The money is out there. It's not just out in those hills. It's within reach. Now, mistake number 3. Now, I don't want you to get the wrong impression. I love going to these new home builder communities too, right? They're beautiful. They've done a fantastic job. And it's amazing how they lay out the properties, the floor plans that are available, the options that are available. But it is important to not get sucked into the builder's marketing machine. And this is a big one, especially for the greater Phoenix area, where new home construction is booming and there are plenty of incentives being offered. let's talk a little bit about the tactics that are used to get you through the door. And like I said, don't get me wrong, the new home builders that create beautiful homes and beautiful communities, and we need them. Absolutely, we need them to continue constructing those homes. But it is crucial for you, the potential home buyer, to understand that their marketing strategies, what those marketing strategies are, so that you can make an informed decision and really understand what it is that you're buying and what you're getting for your money. Now you have the model home trap. Really, that's what it is, okay? The music is nice and mellow. There's scents of fresh baked cookies coming from the floors. You know, I don't know where they're piping it in from, but it smells great. It looks great. It feels great, right? And builders, they showcase these model homes with all the bells and whistles. Upgraded finishes, premium appliances, professional staging. It's designed to make you absolutely fall in love. But remember, what you see isn't always what you get at the base price. Another tactic is the urgency play. You may hear things like, listen, folks, I know you fell in love with the house, because believe me, they do have speakers in those model homes. They are listening to you. This is the last home in the community, or prices are going up next week. And while sometimes that it could be true, it's often a sales tactic to push you to make a quick decision. Builders often have preferred lenders, and they may offer incentives for using their lender, like closing cost credits or upgrades. And they can be great. They seem great, but it's important to shop around and ensure that you're getting the best overall deal. Lastly, watch out for the upgrade upsell. Once you're emotionally invested in the home, it's easy to justify these upgrades that can quickly blow your budget out of the water. Mistake number 4. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good. Okay. All right. You guys hanging in there with me? I certainly hope so. All right. Mistake number 4 is skipping or waiving the home inspection. Skipping the home inspection is like buying a car without looking out under the hood. You want the Carfax, don't you? Right? You want to know what the car experienced, what the previous owner went through, so you have an idea of what you're buying. Well, the same holds true for a home. And it doesn't matter if that home is a new home or a resale home. Make sure you get an inspection. It looks great on the outside, but you can be in for some expensive surprises down the road. Let me explain a bit why home inspections are so vital in the home buying process. Now, first and foremost, a home inspection, it gives you an unbiased professional assessment of the property's condition. It's your chance to really understand what you're buying beyond what meets the human eye. It is crucial whether you're looking at a brand new home or a charming 1920s bungalow. Secondly, the home inspection period as a buyer gives you a bit of leverage, right? If significant issues are uncovered, you have the opportunity to negotiate those repairs, possibly make some reductions in price, or maybe even walk away. Listen, the homeowner doesn't want you to have a negative experience. They want to sell the house. And, you guys may have become friendly towards the end, but you have your life, they have their life. No one wants to really hear from each other after the sale, but hear about any issues, right? They disclose what they know from the beginning, and that's the end of it. But without an inspection, you're essentially agreeing to buy the home as is, warts and all. Lastly, a good home inspection, it can save you money in the long run. It can identify potential issues before they become major problems, allowing you to budget for future repairs or maintenance. Now, let's chat a little bit about what a standard home inspection it typically covers. And those are the structural elements, the foundation, the walls, the ceiling, and the roof. The exterior evaluation, where they look at the grading, how the outside soil, oh goodness, how the outside soil, how it relates to the property, right? Is it sloping towards the house? Is it sloping away from the house for when we actually get rain here in Arizona, to make sure any water is going away from the house? They look at the garages, and again, they look at the drainage. They look at the roof and the attics for leaks, proper insulation, or ventilation. They look at the plumbing systems. It covers the pipes, the drains, the water heating, and any water pressure. The electrical systems. The inspector checks all visible wiring, service panels, breakers, or fuses. The HVAC system looks at the heating, cooling, and ductwork. Missy just really loves to be on video. I don't know what else to say. It just happens often. All right. So again, the inspector looks at the HVAC system. They look at the heating, cooling, ductwork. So you know this is an AI. You know this. We're live here, folks. Okay. This is how we do these things. They look at the interior, the walls, floors, windows, doors, and the stairs. If there are stairs, they make sure that those are all inspected. They look at the ventilation system and the bathroom, the kitchen vents. They're all checked for proper function. I guess my Amazon package arrived. The inspector will also look at the fireplace to make sure if there's a fireplace, to make sure everything functions properly and safely. Look at any appliances that are there and test them for basic functionality. And remember, while a home inspection is comprehensive, it does not cover everything. A standard home inspection does not cover everything. Depending on the property, you may consider additional specialized inspections, like a pest or termite inspection, a radon testing, mold testing, asbestos testing for older homes, pool or spa inspection, chimney inspections if there's a fireplace. Let's chat a little bit about another story that happened a few years ago. One of my past clients saved thousands of dollars because they did the home inspection, and it was an older home about 1960s, ranch style, single level home. And the home looked great on the outside. It was remodeled, new kitchen, new baths, new flooring. But the inspection, it found that the bathroom remodel and the shower, the drainage pan, it was not properly sealed, and it was basically leaking. And that is an issue for anyone who plans to shower. So that buyer did get a credit in order to help rectify that situation, and the buyer decided to move forward with the transaction, closed successfully. Now, another one that comes to mind was the first-time home buyer, and this property was out in Buckeye. And it was an older home. The property was not updated. I mean, they painted it on the inside. That was really the extent of it. And there were some additions that were unpermitted on the home. But this particular first home buyer, man, he was excited. He just wanted a home. And this was going to be it for him. This is going to be his blank canvas, and he was going to create his own space. But after doing the inspection, we uncovered some pretty significant issues, and they were just too costly to move forward. So he decided to cancel the transaction. He had his earnest money returned and moved on to another property. All right. Remember, home inspections, they can also help you plan for future expenses. Maybe the roof is nearing the end of its life. In Arizona, we do have heat, and things expand and contract, and nothing lasts forever. So, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, you may need to replace that roof in time, or the water heater. We also have hard water. It may be showing signs of of age. The information in a home inspection, it really allows you to budget accordingly and avoid surprise expenses down the road. Now, don't forget about the peace of mind factor, right? Knowing that your potential new home has been thoroughly examined by a professional, it can help you feel confident in your purchase decision. Now, let's transition to our next mistake. And remember, this is also part of the home inspection. Many people don't realize this. They think about a home inspection more about the property itself, but you also have to consider the community, the neighborhood that you're purchasing in. And the mistake that people make is not researching that neighborhood thoroughly. So again, you're not just buying the structure, you're buying the community, and the neighborhood. That community can have a huge impact on the quality of life and that home's future value. Now, you're like, why is neighborhood research so important? I drove around, looks fine, let's move forward. And that may be fine for you. But first, we need to ensure that the area, it aligns with your needs and your lifestyle. A neighborhood that's perfect for a young professional that may not be ideal for a family with school-age children. Secondly, understand neighborhoods help you gauge the potential for appreciation. Is this an up-and-coming area? Are there plans for new amenities or developments that increase the property's potential value? Lastly, thorough research, it can uncover potential issues that may not be apparent during the first visit. You looked at the house the first time. It was one of 10 houses you looked at that day. And you think you remember the house. You made an offer in the house. Your offer was accepted. But, how much time did you really take to look at the neighborhood? Maybe the quiet street wasn't so quiet and it becomes a major thoroughfare during rush hour. Or perhaps there's a history of flooding in the area. Now, what should you look at when researching a neighborhood? If you have an opportunity to talk to the neighbors, that's great. But also take a look at the schools. Even if you don't have children or don't plan to have children, school quality can significantly impact the property's value. Look at the crime rates, and don't just look at the crime today. Look at the crime trends and research the crime in your current area and weigh that against the crime in the area that you're considering moving to. Look at future developments. Are there plans for new shopping centers, parks, and other amenities in this area? Or perhaps are there less desirable developments as well? What about transportation? Consider the commute times, consider public transportation options, the walkability of an area, how close are the schools, libraries, parks, shopping, dining, and entertainment. If that's important to you, make sure you're aware of that. What about the property value? Research historical trends and the future projections. Natural hazards. Is it prone to flooding, wildfires, other natural disasters like sinkholes? Look at the HOA and CC&Rs, and we'll get into this a little bit later. If applicable, if there is a homeowners association, make sure that you look over those documents. What about the noise level? Visit the neighborhood at different times of day to get a true sense of the noise level. Maybe you work from home and there's somebody next door that works on cars and that has a machine shop next door. That could be problematic. Or you work nights and the neighborhood is very lively during the day. What is the community vibe? Does the neighborhood feel like a place that you would fit in and feel comfortable? And you're saying, okay, great. Wow, that's a lot of information. Where on earth do I find this information, Natasha? Well, here are a few valuable resources, and you can take a look at local government websites. You can check out crimereports.com. It gives you some information on the crime statistics in an area. You can look at local news sources to understand current events and future plans in an area. Check out social media. Facebook has a number of neighborhood sites. You can look at Nextdoor as well to get an idea of community dynamics. What about FEMA? their flood maps, which are essential to understanding the flood risks, and your realtor, your real estate professional. We have access to a wealth of data and local knowledge that can help make your research invaluable, right? And now let's dive into mistake number 5, shall we? Mistake number 5 is not reviewing important documents, not reviewing those HOA, homeowner association documents. Now, what is an HOA? All right, well, HOA stands for Homeowners Association. And there are many homeowners associations here in Arizona, right? They are an organization in many communities, and they make and enforce rules for properties and their residents. In Arizona, again, HOAs are very common, especially in newer developments. Now, why is reviewing the HOA document so important? Well, when you buy a property in a community with an HOA, you're not just buying that property, you're entering into an agreement with the homeowners association. And this agreement can affect everything from the color you paint your house to whether you can park an RV in a driveway, to what type of pets you can have, how many pets you can have, or whether you can have pets at all. Skipping the HOA document review is like signing a contract without reading it. You may be agreeing to rules and financial obligations that you're not aware of, and that could significantly impact your lifestyle and your budget. So you're right. Okay, what am I looking at with these HOA documents? Well, they include CC&Rs, covenants, conditions, and restrictions. And that's the main governing document of the Homeowners Association. It outlines the rules of a community, covers the architectural controls, pet policies, use of common areas. There goes the bylaws and how many board members there are, how they're elected, how often meetings are conducted, who can attend those meetings. It includes the articles of incorporation, the legal document that establishes the HOA as a corporate entity. The rules and regulations, these are more detailed day-to-day rules that complement the CC&Rs, the covenants, conditions, and restrictions. There are other financial documents in there that if you're getting a loan, your lender will definitely want this information, and be aware of the current budget, the reserve study, information about any planned special assessments. There will be meeting minutes, and these can give you insight into the current issues in the community and how the board operates. There may be a newsletter or two, so you get an idea of the vibe, the culture, and any recent developments. And, when you're reviewing these documents, because it sounds like a lot, I realize that, right? Especially if you're not used to looking at these things, you're like, oh my God, I'm falling asleep already. Well, wake up. All right. What you're looking for, focus on some key areas. Look at the budget and the reserve fund. And again, if you're getting a loan, your lender will want to look at that. They want to know that the HOA is financially stable. They want to know that there's enough money to cover any major repairs that need to happen in the future in the community. If the roof needs to be repaired or replaced, is there enough money to cover that? If the parking lot needs to be repaved, is there enough money to cover that? If the pool needs work, enough money to cover that. What is the fee structure? Okay, what are the fees? What do the fees cover? How often do these fees increase? All right, look at the rules and restrictions and pay close attention to how it could affect your lifestyle. Maybe you plan to live in that property today, but you say, I'm building my rental portfolio and I want to purchase this house today, but this house will be a rental for me down the road. Well, does the HOA, do they allow rentals in the community? And what type of rentals do they allow? Because some will say that there's a 6-month minimum on a rental, and then others will say 30 days. So just be aware of that, and that it works for your plans today and your plans tomorrow. Are there any pet restrictions? Maybe you have 17 dogs and 2 cats. And it would be important to know if your HOA is going to be okay with that. All right. What about a home-based business? Are there any restrictions with the homeowners association? What about the amenities? What amenities exist in this community, and are they well maintained? Insurance. Insurance is a big one. What does the HOA's master policy cover? And what are you, the individual, responsible for ensuring? Is there any legal disputes, any litigation that's currently taking place? And what about violations or fines? Understand the process involved there and really take the time to review these documents thoroughly. And there is a HOA document review period in the Arizona purchase contracts, as long as nobody, through negotiations changes that timeline. There is time to review those documents in there. But the important thing that it helps you avoid surprises. You know exactly what you're getting into before you buy. It allows you to budget accordingly, right? Understanding all potential costs, it helps you determine if the property truly fits your budget. Does it fit your lifestyle? You can ensure the community rules align with your lifestyle and your plans today and your future plans for the property. What about the peace of mind factor? I don't know about you, but that's huge. We work, we want to come home, we just want to chill. I do. I just want to chill when I finally make it home, right? And knowing that you've done your due diligence and it can make you more confident in your purchase decision. Well, listen, folks, I said 45 minutes. It's about 37 minutes, and we've covered a lot of ground in tonight's webinar. Now, avoid these costly mistakes in the Arizona Homebuyers contract webinar, excuse me. And I wanted to just give you a quick recap on the crucial mistakes that we discussed today, right? Yes, thank you. All right. Some of the crucial mistakes that we discussed today: counting yourself out before even getting started. Find out what options exist first before you say, just based on how you think things are or how things used to be, that you can't achieve your goals. All right. Take advantage of down payment assistance programs that exist out there. Take advantage of programs that exist for someone who currently owns a home and is looking to purchase their next home. Don't assume that there's just one way of doing things. There are many ways of doing things. Don't get sucked into the new home builders marketing machine. Do not skip or waive your home inspection period. Make sure that you review the Homeowners Association documents and all documents related that come about in the real estate process. Each of these mistakes, they can cost you time, money, and a whole lot of stress. But armed with knowledge, some of the knowledge we've shared today, you're ahead of the game. Most people don't think about these things. Now, again, the key takeaways from our session today are, don't assume that you can't buy a home. Get the facts first. The facts, only the facts, okay? Explore all available programs and resources available for buyers today, whether you're buying your first home, your 5th home, your 42nd home, whether you are purchasing another home and keeping your current home as a rental, or selling your current home and moving into another home. There are programs available to help you in that process. Explore those options. Great. And approach new construction with your eyes wide open. Have a critical mindset. always get a professional home inspection. You know, Uncle George, he may have worked in construction for a number of years, but we need a professional home inspection to come out and look at this property with a fine-tooth comb, provide a report with pictures, and then please feel free to go over that report with Uncle George and ask any questions that may come about, and get a home inspection regardless of whether it is a new home or a resale home. Right. Thoroughly review those HOA documents before committing to a purchase. And remember, buying a home, it is a journey. Okay. It's okay to take it one step at a time. The goal isn't just to buy a home, it's to find the right home for you and at the right place in the right location. So you're like, what's next? What's next? What do I do from here? I've got all this stuff in my head. What do I do from here? You take action, right? You take action. You sit down with a real estate professional to chat a little bit about your needs and wants, talk about your timeline, talk about the programs that exist today and whether you can take advantage of them. Like, just get it out in the open and talk with a trusted advisor. Now, if you decide to do that with me, I can provide you with a list of resources to get you started. There's no cost for the call. You can feel free to reach out to me on any of the social media networks or use my contact information right there. Feel free to call or text, email, contact me via my website. Don't send a pigeon though, all right? Just pick up the phone. All right. Again, folks, I understand that life gets busy. And if you have the opportunity, please feel free to share this information, share this webinar with any friends, families, coworkers, people who you know are considering purchasing property in Arizona. Knowledge is power, and the more informed home buyers we have in our marketplace, the healthier our real estate market is. Folks, thank you very much for chiming in. Let me see if we have any questions popping up here tonight. We are on a few different social media channels here, so you never quite know what is going on. Like I said, I am flying solo this evening. Great. We'll leave this up here for a bit. Yes, I do work past 5 o'clock. Well, you can see here we are. We're 7:45, and here we are chatting. So yes, yeah, you can call me past 5 o'clock. I do know that people work, so feel free to call or text me at the number that's there. Yep, 480-203-4364. Me, I moved to Arizona in 1997, and I had my real estate license in 2005. So I've seen a few different markets, and I've had the chance to help people buy and sell real estate, you know, single family, condo, townhome, some land, you know, and yeah. If you'd like to chat more about about what your needs are, we can definitely do that. Yep, just feel free to contact me there and we'll set something up. Great. Wonderful. Well, everyone, again, thank you for chiming in tonight. Your time is valuable. I appreciate you sharing some of it with me. Have a wonderful night, and let me know if I can help you with your real estate needs in any way. All right. Ta-ta for now.